There seems to be an enormous number of YouTubers who make a living from telling us scare stories about San Francisco, about the homelessness, about the robberies, about the car crime. And yes, I'm sure all those things do exist, but they don't tell you the other side. They don't tell you about the fact that San Francisco is still an amazing city to visit. Does it match expectations? Well, actually, yes. It's very reminiscent of New York. It has some beautiful architecture. It has a beautiful mix of old, and we're talking about post-earthquake disaster old, but alongside the new, and some truly remarkable structures which evoke such strong feelings. You see them in films, the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, the skyline itself, and of course the Bay Bridge, which is almost as spectacular as the Golden Gate Bridge itself. This building, which clearly was the basis for the planet of Naboo, because Lucasfilm had based just a few hundred metres from there. You have the wonderful City Hall. You have the historic painted ladies buildings used in many TV series. And they have the bohemian atmosphere that just evokes such thoughts of the 60s and 70s. Love the way these ladies come out and wave at every tour bus. And of course, Lombard Street, again, it's ridiculous, but it has to be seen. I mean, who would design such a crazy structure? But you have to go. And there are queues, but well worth seeing. They just about make it in the end. It gets criticised for being a tourist trap. Yes, there are things that are very touristy. We loved Pier 39. We thought it was great, but then we enjoy Blackpool. It's a lot classier than Blackpool, but it's very reminiscent of a traditional British seaside resort, which has got a little bit more money spent on it, to be honest. There are what we always call tat shops, the places you can go to buy your souvenirs and things that will remind you of your holidays in San Francisco, but actually they're quite decent quality, particularly compared to your typical seaside resort in the UK. There's the ice cream places, there are clothes shops, there are all sorts of fast food places. We enjoyed spending a lot of time in this area because it was just a place to chill in the evenings. There was also, at the very end, some evening entertainment, a magician who was very good indeed. And it just had a cool vibe. Just felt like a nice place to be. And if that's a tourist trap, then I'm happy with that. It's also a good place to get the obligatory hoodie, which everyone always says you'll end up buying when you go to San Francisco. I bought one. The weather can turn chilly in the evenings. However, we had marvellous weather when we were there. We also love visiting this place, Hot Licks. It allowed you to do lots of tasting of chilies. And a Christmas shop. What better place to go in August than a Christmas shop? Pier 39 also has the seals at the end. Again, tourists love looking at these. I looked at them for about 30 seconds. The rest of my family seemed to want to look at them for 10 minutes, but 30 seconds was enough for me. But I've seen them now. There's actually lots to do in San Francisco. Just going for a walk, seeing some of the amazing structures, looking at the driverless Waymo taxis. No, I didn't take one. I didn't dare. Or just taking the baseball. It's a truly remarkable stadium. Oracle Park, couldn't believe the facilities there. We go to a lot of football grounds in the UK, and this was up there with any that we've seen, and better. And what a view, overlooking the bay. This guy playing the organ, loved him. Played a lot of ELO, which I thought was really good. And just look at the view you get from the ground. That's actually the worst seat in the ground we went up to see what it was like. Not into baseball. We didn't think we were either, but we had a lovely time. Genuinely, we would go again. And unfortunately, San Francisco lost, but we had a great time. Want to see a little bit more of the coast? Well, the river. Well, then we caught a river taxi. What an amazing view. Bit choppy, but to go underneath the Bay Bridge, which I think is a fantastic structure, is just a unique experience. Well, how safe is it? Well, yes, near our hotel, there were some homeless people. Yes, they do seem to congregate more in the areas which tourists congregate in, but we didn't find anyone give us any hassle. We didn't make eye contact with people who we thought were going to be problematic. Perhaps we just have that experience. We've been to London many times. We've been to many other cities which supposedly have a reputation. We didn't feel in any danger. We went into the city a couple of times when we were there. We were near the area which you were supposed to avoid, the Tenderloin. We walked just into the Tenderloin at one point without realising. No one jumped on us, no one mugged us, no one threatened us. It's just using your common sense. Alcatraz. Now, don't get caught out. You need to book your ticket with the right firm at least 10 days before. Preferably a month before. We booked ours about 3 months before. People turn up and think they can just hop on a boat and get across. There are some which claim to be Alcatraz tours, but they drive in a boat around the island and don't stop. There's only one company that actually stops. Look them up, find the right one, check that it will stop, and book it early because it really is worth doing. It's one of the highlights, I think, of our visit. It's otherworldly. Easily said, but actually it really was. We left in, as you can see, really, really pleasant weather. It's only about a mile or so across. And as we were getting halfway across, we noticed the waves seem to pick up and there's a grey mist around in the air. And then as we got closer, you can see it's getting greyer. It's getting a bit cooler. Now, they kept talking about this sort of unique atmosphere and the unique wave systems and tidal systems around it, but you couldn't quite believe the hype. But as we got closer, you can see it looks like we've gone on a completely different day. It's now grey, and it really suited the mood. We did the audio tours, all got our headphones plugged in, the voice commentaries from the former staff, the former prisoners. Fantastic, definitely worth doing. Eating out, you can eat out quite expensively if you want. We ate a nice Italian, but actually, call us sad, we went to Applebee's and then we went to In-N-Out Burger. You have to eat at In-N-Out Burger if you go to California. We also rode the trams, definitely worth doing. Visited a World War II submarine. Good experience. You have to do the trams. You can see how much it took out of my son. 4 very busy days. Lots of little history and facts inside the trams about where they ran, which cities they came from. We've been on trams plenty of times. We've been to Blackpool dozens of times. They've got all trams there. So it's nice for us to try trams in a different setting. Blackpool always used to show off that it was just Blackpool, San Francisco and Hong Kong that were running the types of trams that they ran. We haven't done Hong Kong yet. You never know. We did tell our children, try and avoid staring at strangers or anyone ranting. A guy did seem to be ranting and spoke to my son and asked him if he could guess how old he was. We realised we were being filmed and said, if you can guess, I'll give you $20. And my son actually guessed it correctly and gave him $20. I think it was a YouTuber. But he was trying to prove to me that, you don't have to avoid people. And perhaps he's right. People were incredibly friendly. We found the whole place to be, a little bit expensive in places. We ate cheaply. But it's a beautiful place. It really is. Great architecture, iconic buildings, and genuinely still brilliant. If you haven't been, then why not? We'd go again. We were sad to get to the airport, which, by the way, nice airport.